In my lifetime, Kennedy was one of the great heroes, a great president who cared about culture and the arts. And I believe we need young people to understand what he said and what he did. So right from the beginning, we wanted to make something positive because that's going to live on to the next generation.
Where we're standing now, 7 years ago, was a bus parking lot and a service area, and yet it's the front of the Kennedy Center. So when we started the competition, we thought, what's the highest aspiration? Like the Jefferson and the Lincoln memorials that you can see from here, it's a presidential memorial, but it's also the National Performing Arts Center. So that's a unique hybrid, a memorial and a performing arts center, and we wanted to take full advantage of that. And we saw here something much more than the brief, which was to add a pavilion onto the existing terrace. We saw the chance to extend the memorial for Kennedy, where the original building is a massive block isolated from its surrounding. We wanted 3 pavilions and a landscape, making space that's open to the city, open to the river. So with these pavilions, the space between them is as important as the shapes of the pavilions.
The building should be more when you go in it than when you look at it. So this project, the phenomenological feelings that you get of texture, of light, of the spaces changing dimension, in compression and release. It's like listening to a piece of music, but you're doing it with your body, with the visceral feelings that you get through a space.
The structure in this building is the space, and the space is the structure. The bones are the walls that you see. There's an interest in being honest to the material in which you're building with and not hiding it. When you knock on drywall, it's hollow. This is solid. And typically, acoustical treatments are applied onto structural walls, where we want to expose the natural material and embed the acoustical treatment into that cast-in-place structure. And so Crinkle Concrete came out of a playful experimentation about how to create a random texture with a 3-inch deep relief to diffuse the sound and mitigate the flutter echo.
The original building is cut off from the city. There's a whole series of highways on the one side, and there's no connection to the riverfront on the other side. So we saw our project as a chance to change that. We have a connection to the bike path along Memorial Bridge. We have a new pedestrian bridge over the parkway that connects to the riverfront, which connects the Kennedy Center to Georgetown to the north, and the Lincoln Memorial for the first time. So the whole space becomes much more porous, and the public is invited to walk through the landscape 24 hours a day.
This is a living memorial. It's very different than all the other memorials. Not only are these spaces all active, but the landscape is another dimension. It's alive. This is like trying to put a musical composition together. Each thing is playing on the other thing, but when they all come together, it's fantastic.
In Washington, D.C., there's a kind of formality to the architecture and to the urbanism that is, in a way, representing many of the principles of the government. But what you don't have so much is a kind of organic connection to nature and a kind of organic space. And that's what we are aiming at here. This is a different kind of space. It's a curvilinear space. It's organic space. It meanders. You meander through it. So the landscape and the way you're experiencing it is very different than the frontality and the monumentality of most space in D.C.
Dick Kennedy's work was really amazing because he had statements about the stewardship of the environment back in the 60s in a way that now we know it's an urgent issue. And this building is an example of as green and ecological as you can make it. Our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's future. And we are all mortal. JFK.